And for the last session of the day, I would like to welcome Meghann Weldon and Mike Richins from Clarivate, and they will talk about enriching resource sharing and community shape approach with Rapido. Take us away.
Wonderful. Thanks, Marta. And thanks for all of you for being here, the last session of the day. Thanks so much. I'm glad we have an audience, and thanks to everyone who's tuning in online. I'm Mike Richins, Director of Product Management for Resource Sharing at Clarivate. With me is Meghann Weldon, Product Manager for Rapido that many of you know. And I'll be presenting, and Megan's here for moral support and to keep me honest. So the topic for today is enriching resource sharing, a community shape approach with Rapido. And this sort of dovetails into the theme of the conference, Reimagining Resource Sharing. So that's exactly what we try to do with first RapidILL, which a lot of the aspects of RapidILL we have taken and brought into Rapido. And now with Rapido, which is a more full-fledged solution for resource sharing. So this update is focused on Rapido, but will actually include some updates on RapidILL as well. So I do want to start very quickly, just an introduction on Rapido, just in case some of you are not familiar with it. And when we talk about Rapido, a couple of things that we were considering, and the things that we were talking with the community about, were the staff experience and the end user experience. So with the staff experience, costly for libraries in terms of the number of systems being used, and also the cost of the daily work in multiple systems. I worked in interlibrary loan at Colorado State University for many years, and in terms of day-to-day, I would have to log into multiple systems to do my job, which gets to be a lot. So a lot of work, a lot of different systems. That was one thing that we were focused on. And the other was around the end user experience. So I think interlibrary loan can be confusing for end users. Sometimes they might have to log into different environments to place the requests. Oftentimes they don't know what to expect when they place that request. So there are expectations that are missing. And sometimes, we've heard from libraries that as a result, patrons place requests and maybe they don't pick the item off the shelf, or they don't download the PDF. Well, their expectation, wasn't met. And so Rapido is a system designed to address these couple issues here. So it's a resource sharing system integrated with the LibrariILL that helps deliver materials to your end users. So libraries can use one interlibrary loan system with access to a broad collective collection. Staff then manage all the requests in one place with excellent workflows, and users place and track the requests in one system. So this is Rapido in a nutshell, and we'll talk about a couple of these points during the presentation. But I do want to start first with some community updates. So I want to share some 2024 numbers with you. The number of RapidILL requests that were filled in the RapidILL network, 1.9 million requests. So we're closing in on that 2 million per year mark. We should pass it this year. I think we'll see that happen. And within the Rapido framework, the fill rates for digital and physical are quite high. You could see 92% to 86%. We utilize real-time availability with Rapido to identify lenders to fill those requests, which results in a very high first lender fill rate of 95%. And with request origin, 81% of requests submitted from users of Rapido are through the Rapido offer tile. We'll see an example of that here in a minute. But what that means is that users going through the Rapido discovery environment, finding something, placing the request, and all the metadata needed to process the request is being passed into the Rapido system. So requests go out unmuted without staff having to fill in like an OC or an OCLC or ISSN number. 85% of field requests were filled by a partner who was also using an ex-Libris resource sharing solution. So libraries that do adopt Rapido can see that a lot of their requests are filled by other Rapido libraries or libraries using ALMA resource sharing. So it's a large and growing network. We'll see these numbers go up as time goes on and more libraries adopt the solution. So I want to celebrate a milestone, and I think this is the first time we've shared this information in public, but we just passed the 25 millionth RapidILL request. Yay. It's processed on August 6, 2025. The borrowing library was UC Boulder. The lender here, Kansas State University. Scott Kickbush provided that quote. UC Boulder did send a quote, but it was too late to include it in the deck there. But 25 million total requests, quite an accomplishment for the community. Also 5 million requests since we hit the 20 million request mark, that was in January 2023. So you can kind of see how the system has grown and the request volume has gone up just in the past few years. The average turnaround time for RapidILL as of this year, and we'll talk about more about that here in a minute, is 9.5 hours per request. And currently the community is over 850 libraries in 36 countries. So we've seen significant growth in the RapidILL community within the past 5 years, more than doubled. And we've gone from just like a handful of countries to well over 30. So fantastic. In terms of the Rapido community growth, that's going well as well. Here are some libraries that have joined. I think this is within the past year. So really getting to be a really robust, large community worldwide. We can see here on the next slide, the libraries involved in terms of where they're located around the world. Of course, the largest is in the US. We have over 200 libraries now. By the end of this year, we should have around 300 libraries live with Rapido. Okay, so I want to talk a little about some of the work that we're doing with the community in terms of getting users access to material. So Rapido was developed to be what we're calling an open ILL network, meaning that it integrates with a number of different systems. And we work with a lot of really great partners. We have Research Solutions, aka Reprints Desk. We have a really wonderful cloud app that works with their services. One of the things that we've been focused on lately, or the community's been focused on, are hybrid pods, which are essentially a mix of Rapido libraries, ALMA libraries that have agreed on some shared terms. And so we're able to create these hybrid pods for the community, and they're able to then, if you're an ALMA library, configure them in your Rota. If you're a Rapido library, you could add them to your list of Rapido pods, and then you're able to share resources with other libraries. And this all happens behind the scenes. It's completely automatic. So there's been a lot of interest and a lot of effort around this. So largely from the California State University system, sorry, the SUNY system, and Pascal. So if you're interested in sharing resources through one of these hybrid pods, Chris Lee at CSU would be someone to talk to, or Tim Jackson at SUNY. Continuing on the OpenIL network, Rapido integrates again with different systems. We try to do it through using standards. And one of the standards we love to use is ISO 18626. So we have had integration with Reshare the past couple of years. We have worked to make that integration even better this year. And this is through a project with libraries in Australia. They replaced their LAD resource sharing system with Reshare. And so those libraries in ALMA needed a really nice integration to continue to work with their Trove partners. So we worked with the Australian community. We worked with also Alan Jones at the New School, who many of you probably know. We worked with Caval, and we worked with Index Data to make these integrations happen. So that was one project. Another one that just came out is our new resource sharing directory API. And what that does, it allows folks to access the partner records of over 100 ALMA libraries. And so that helps support connecting libraries, peer-to-peer relationships. The East group is very interested in working through this resource sharing directory to help them with their work around shared collections, collection development, and are looking at the API as a way to help support that. Also this year, we've released the Rapido Consortial Borrowing, which is utilizing Rapido to share resources within a consortia. And we worked with OhioLink and Search Ohio on this project. OhioLink is all Alma libraries, and they went live, or they're just going live now, and Search Ohio will go live later this year. But this is a really nice integration because it means that these two groups can work in one unified system with multiple different ILSs. I believe it's 6 in all that we needed to work on an integration to make sure that Rapido worked with all the necessary systems. Another exciting topic, and we talked about this last year at Northwest ILL, and that's ebook lending, a very hot topic in the community. And we said last year that we would have ebook research sharing developed by the end of the year. That happened. It was released in January, and we have libraries using it. And we have this quote here from Shannon Pritting at SUNY Empire State College on their use of Rapido for ebook sharing. And if I go to the next slide, there's a little bit more. It's a little story from Shannon about a user that he was working with that found a resource that was an ebook. And well, they were hoping at least maybe getting a couple chapters out of it. And they were actually able to get the entire ebook within 3 hours, so that end user had access to the entire ebook through the ebook sharing process in Rapido. And here's what it looks like. So some of you might be familiar with the Rapido tiles, which is what the end user sees when they're looking in Rapido Discovery. So you can see here the terms: get an ebook delivered in 24 hours, or instead request a digital chapter. That was the initial development for ebooks, is if an ebook was available, then the tile would share the ebook and provide them with an option to get a chapter. Of course, some users like to use print materials, so we did a further development that came out over the summer that can provide 3 tiles. If there is a physical copy, provide that as an option, and then also provide an option to get an ebook, or maybe if they just need a chapter, they could then request a chapter out of that material. So ebook lending alive and well in Rapido is going well. Okay, another thing that we're working on in terms of community involvement, and this is something that's come up a lot talking with libraries the past couple of years, DocLine integration. We are very close. We are working with libraries to test the integration. National Library of Medicine came out with the API early this year. It's live, and we've been doing some testing to make sure that it works for the community. And it looking good. We're hoping to be live at the end of the year. So for those of you that are thinking about Rapido and are weighing, whether to move forward or not, and DocLine is part of your decision, know that that is going to be available shortly. Okay, some community-focused enhancements. This first one here is RapidILL, and this is routing prioritization based on the format of the request. So this is something that's come through a number of channels. We've had discussions with libraries about it. It came through the ID exchange, and that is libraries would like requests to go to lenders that own the material in electronic format. Just kind of makes sense, right? So instead of having to pull an item off the shelf, they could simply download the electronic resource and send it. So we worked on this development. It's live. So when a request goes out to RapidILL, we're doing all the lovely low-leveling processing. We're doing the time zone awareness, but we're also taking into account what the formats the lenders have available to them. And we are favoring lenders that own the item in electronic format. So prior to this development, around 69% of RapidILL requests were fielded from an electronic resource. That has gone up to 81%. So significant updates, change, and a reduction in staff time needed to process requests. And this is one of the reasons why we saw kind of that reduced turnaround time of 9.5 hours on average, is the fact that we are targeting lenders now that own the material in electronic overprint. And again, something that's been requested from the community quite often. Another thing that we've gotten a lot of feedback from the community, RapidILL has an automated open access process where you submit a request and we find it's available through open access. We'll actually download the file and deliver it to you automatically. And before we were checking on paywall for these items, and that was working fine, but we've more recently leveraged our central discovery index, the Libris central discovery index for this, which means that we get the unpaywall resources, plus we get a lot of other resources as well, including book chapters. We're now checking book chapters for open access. And the percentage of requests being successfully filled via open access has gone from 2% to 2.6%. And some of you might be kind of worried about, because we've seen it happen where we deliver a file and it's the abstract or the wrong thing. Well, we also recently did an AI development, and it's AI quality control. So anything that goes through the open access process, we're going to check to validate that it matches to the correct article. It's the full article. It will validate that there are no issues with the text, and it will also validate that it's the published version of the article. So this has drastically improved the quality of the open access service through RapidILL. Okay, so some other areas in terms of working with the community. One of these is the idea exchange. If you're not familiar with the idea exchange, it's one of the places where you could submit enhancement requests to us for Rapido, RapidILL. This is kind of what the form looks like. And we do take these into careful consideration when we are planning our roadmap. So a couple of examples of things that we've developed. Here's one that is related to when you check in a book from a lending library on the receive screen, that the lending library associated with the request now displays on that screen. So you can validate that the book they receive is actually from the correct library. So that's something we developed and released in June. Another one here is the ability to convert a purchase request to a resource sharing request. So that's something we actually just released in August. And so you're able to convert a purchase request to resource sharing request and make a decision whether to keep the purchase request open or not. But that made that process easy for libraries to want to make that decision. Another idea exchange item that we are working to develop will be out this December is in Rapido. If you are working on a request and you need to make changes to the metadata of the request, it will now be recorded in the request history. So if you need to change the ISSN, volume, that will all be recorded in the history. So you could be aware of that when you review the request later. So that's coming up. Okay, the curve process. So this is another way that you could engage with us in terms of developments. And this is a formal process between Ex Libris and the community. And we work closely with the product working groups on this. And the idea is that we have a number of development days each year that we devote to these enhancements. The community submits enhancements, they are voted on, and then we receive what's voted on, and we are committed to developing those in the next calendar year. So this is sort of what the process looks like in terms of timeline. This is the one we're currently working on. So submissions were back in April, a lot of review, some voting, another review, and we assigned what we call our complexity points, and voting round 2 just finished. So we're just waiting to see what we're committed to developing next year. So we're excited to see what we're going to be doing. So here's some examples of the last curve enhancement cycle and what we've developed. This first one here is extending the due dates based on library calendar closures. So if this is a new pod term, so it can be adjusted on a per pod basis. But the idea is that if the due date lands on a date that the library is closed, the system will automatically push that due date to fall after the closures. So This is something we developed in May and is now in place. Another enhancement that we worked on was the customization of internal reject requests. So if you want to save more information about a request you had to reject from a partner library, that internal reject reason is customizable, and you could save the request, reject the request, and have that information saved with the request for, if you ever need to go back to review that request again, you understand what happened. And another one is related to volume parsing. So the idea here is that folks in the community noticed that some formats of volumes for requests that were being submitted weren't correctly corresponding to what lenders were able to fulfill. So we recognized that there were a number of different variations of how volumes can be formatted, and we included those in the process that we use to match a request to potential lenders. And the result of that, of course, is better accuracy on the holding and getting that request to lenders with those specific volumes that can lend those volumes. That actually just came out, September. Okay, so what are we working on? A couple of items that are coming up that are exciting. One is OCR handling. So we have a lot of conversations with the community about accessibility. And so we're going to add automated OCR to RapidILL, to Rapido, to Alma resource sharing. So the system will automatically OCR files that do not have OCR already in them. So that's coming up. Another thing that we're working on, and this is, again, back to the community ideas, this is a community-based idea, and that is updates to the Global Title Index, which is our index of holdings for RapidILL libraries. And there can be, some strange issues here. Sometimes maybe a record, there'll be separate records for a title, even though it's the same title, may be held by different libraries, which means it's kind of hard for us to connect the request to all the available lenders. So this will help make sure that when you place a request, that it actually has the most available options in terms of possible lenders. And finally, scheduling enhancements. So this is something that's come up quite a bit as well, where there's some limitations to how you could schedule your lending to be offline in Alma. We're working on a development to make sure they're able to not just schedule your lending completely off, but also target, do you want to just shut off your physical lending, or do you want to shut off physical lending and physical scanning and only do electronic requests? So that's something we're working on as well. That also corresponds to what many of you are familiar with in terms of RapidILL, where you do have that ability to schedule for specific request formats. So that's what we're working on, and I think that's my last slide. Hopefully, I think I'm within time, and so thank you. I'm happy to answer questions if we have time.
This room and running a microphone, not friendly. First off, thank you to both you and OCLC for adding in OCR, because that is hugely helpful looking at the due date that the big academics have in April. A question for clarification. The slide said Rapido. Can RapidILL, RapidR libraries get in on the hybrid pods, and if so, how?
Hybrid pods are available to libraries using Rapido or Alma resource sharing for connecting to share physical materials.
So no on the RapidILL.
RapidR libraries and Rapido libraries are connecting outside of the hybrid pods through just their use of RapidR today. And then for digital sharing, they're already connecting to via just being a part of the RapidILL network. But the hybrid pods are connecting physical sharing between Alma resource sharing libraries and Rapido libraries today.
I have a question. Hi, I'm actually curious about the ebook lending because we are a Rapido library, and I've heard obviously I saw you guys last year, but I'm not sure. Is that for lending? Is that for borrowing? Is that between Rapido libraries only? Is it automatic? How does that work? Because I know that we have to cancel a lot of requests because we can't get the mini book. If this is a source that we need to be tapping in art, I'd really love to know because that would be great.
Yeah, so ebook lending in Rapido works by joining the Rapido ebook pod. I can't recall off the top of my head if your library's in the pod yet, so let's look into that together. But so once your library joins the Rapido ebook pod, you define your lendable items. It's a DRM-free pod, meaning libraries are defining their DRM-free items as lendable for sharing in that pod. Then as a lender, you're only getting requests for those items that you've defined as lendable. And you, via display logic rules, enable the Rapido ebook offer. So then from your borrowing experience, your end users are only getting that ebook offer on the items that are available via that pod. So I don't believe your library's yet in that ebook pod, but I think that'd be really exciting because as far as the automated component of that, your lending workflow for lending those ebooks is the workflow that you're already familiar with, doing the article lending that you're used to today in Rapido. So it's that same lending workflow. For borrowing, it's as automated as you want it to be. So just like for a lot of your borrowing articles, they go straight to the lender without you having to touch them or interact with them first. Your ebook borrowing requests can do the same thing. If you don't want it to work that way, there are mediation rule parameters that you can put in play for that as well.
Nice. Thank you very much.
Same question that I asked OCLC. So how many languages is your OCR covering? English, multiple languages? Do you guys know yet?
We don't know yet. So there were a number of efforts within Clarivate related to this very topic. So it's not just resource sharing. So there's Leganto, there's Rialto. I know there's other areas in the organization that are working to tackle this. And so we actually have a series of meetings coming up just in the actually starting next week, to have some discussion on the best approach and whether it makes sense for us to all use maybe the same processes. What would those processes be? Like those exact questions, how many languages? And then we can make a decision, do we want to do the same thing for Rapido, RapidILL? Is that a good fit for us? Or do we want to do something different than what the other products are doing? So we don't know yet, but we will see, and we'll let you know as soon as we know.
I have a comment, and then it looks like there might be an online question. I've been in libraries a long time, and ILLiad has been the mainstay for a long time, and I never ever thought we'd break up, but we did. And we got Rapido, and honestly, I'm not looking back. I don't miss ILLiad really at all. And I've been really, really pleased with Rapido's abilities and then responsiveness, the team to any sort of issue that comes up. It's always addressed in some way. So again, ILLiad was everything to me, and now I don't even remember what it was like. Okay, and then here is a question from online. How large is the global title index?
I don't know. Megan, do you?
Sorry.
I don't know. We could take that with the team and see if we could find an answer, but it's sizable. I don't know. Good question though. We should know.
Google it. Ask Siri. No.
Any other questions?
No question up there, go. Somebody have a question yet? Oh, you were watching that way, pointing the mic. Back to me. I'm not. You showed a map before where the countries where they're using this product. Is that something we can see maybe with more detail? To see what libraries are. I'm interested in like the ones that showed up on your map sort of around Southeast Asia.
Yeah, if you do a search, Rapido pods, you'll
Okay.
actually get a listing of libraries and the related pods that they participate in.
Thank you. You can have it back now.
We are at the end of the presentation.
Oh, no, you're muted. Yeah.
Yeah. We are at the end of the presentation. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Meghann. And as with all the presentations, it's going to be available